Good Sunday afternoon to you, and welcome to another episode of Afternoon Tea, the program brought to you by Pearls of Great Price Empowerment Services, where we have good company, good conversation, good information, and of course, good tea. This program, we are going to be speaking about a topic that I really have a passion for, and my guest is an expert in the field. So you know what I tell you, call a friend, call your sister, call your cousin, call your neighbor. Tell them afternoon tea is on. Get your tea and come join us. My guest today hails from Florida. She is an expert in the field as a certified etiquette consultant, and she is going to be sharing with us some pearls of the trade, yes? So without further ado, let's welcome her. Give her a warm Trinidad and Tobago welcome, a warm Pearls of Great Price welcome. Let's welcome Miss Jackie Vernon Thompson. Hi.
Hello, Giselle. Hello, everyone on Afternoon Tea. Thank you so much for having me on, Giselle.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Folks, I have been following Jackie for some time because, as I said, this topic is really close to my heart. I have a passion for it. So I'm looking to see, who I can learn from, and there I found her. So I've been following her, and she is doing an excellent job. So I got some courage, and I said, let me ask if she wouldn't mind sharing some time with us, and she accepted. So welcome again, Jackie.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yes, let me just give you a bit of information about Jackie. As I said, she hails from Florida, USA. And she is a certified etiquette consultant and CEO of From the Inside Out School of Etiquette. The school teaches children and adults proper etiquette, such as greeting and communicating effectively, chivalry. No, chivalry is not dead. Chivalry. Sitting and walking gracefully, table etiquette and protocol, business etiquette, and so much more. Jackie also certifies, and this got me interested. I got all excited, actually. Jackie also certifies individuals who desire to be an etiquette consultant. And she has certified individuals from Bangladesh, Zambia, Uganda, Jamaica, the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Lucia, and hear this, Sweet Tea and Tea, and throughout the U.S. I told you she's doing a great work. And so Jackie says that she is grateful to God for placing her in such a prominent and needed position. And as the motto says, etiquette, so rarely demonstrated, yet so often needed. And yes, Jackie, it is needed. Thank you again. Wow. So Jackie, tell us a bit, how did you get into this whole area of etiquette? What brought you to this, and why the need to be in this needed and key area? Tell us.
Of course, Giselle, thank you for that great question. The need is there worldwide. Proper conduct is like throw it out the window in many cases, especially for this generation. And unfortunately, for so many of our adults, proper conduct is rare in different situations. Let me revert to the beginning of your question. How did I get into etiquette? It wasn't my idea. It wasn't my aspiration. It wasn't my thought. Prior to getting into etiquette or entering into this industry, I was mentoring girls, primarily young ladies who grew up without their father and dealing with certain circumstances. I wanted to just help them through that journey because I somewhat was a product of that as well. So I began to groom them into loving themselves and valuing themselves and so forth. And then the Lord just said to me, hey, I want you to take this thing to another level. I was
Yes.
shocked because it wasn't my idea. Etiquette wasn't even a part of my part of my vocabulary. Etiquette
Wow.
was just not even in my thought. But God said to me one night before my slumber, I want you to start an etiquette school and do etiquette DVDs. I am so honest. It was nothing, and it was not on my mind at all.
Yes.
So as I shared it with my husband the next morning, letting him know God spoke with me, he said, well, we have no choice but to move forward. And
Yes.
7 years later, here I am.
Wow, wow, wow. We thank you for your obedience. We really, really do, because it's taking you around the world. God is using your gift to really make room for you. So we thank you for your obedience.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So then tell us, let's define it. I like to put things in context. What
Mhm.
is etiquette?
Mhm. A simple definition that I like to share with my students is etiquette is conducting yourself in a way that doesn't offend others.
Okay.
Therefore, you're concerned about everything you do around other people. You're concerned about your tone. You're concerned about the words you use. You're concerned about your actions. You're concerned about everything to be sure that you're not offending others in your presence.
Wow, I like that. That's different, because I've been looking at different definitions, and this one adds a different spin to it. It takes ownership that
Mhm.
your actions might impact and how they impact others, so you don't want to offend. I really like that perspective. So you are very conscious about how
Mhm.
you act and the impact of your actions. I,
Absolutely.
I know your background is in communications, and I saw this quote, and I want to read it to you. Etiquette is a notion of communication. It is a language in and of itself. What do you think about that definition? Is etiquette a language in and of itself?
Absolutely. And I'm so happy that you mentioned that. There's something that I mention to my students almost every time we meet. And I teach internationally, but the terminology etiquette is a global word. Of course, every culture has its own etiquette protocols in certain instances. But I tell them that as long as we're awake, we're communicating something, whether
Yes.
it's verbal or nonverbal. So etiquette plays a huge role in that. What are you communicating? Are you communicating negatively? Are you communicating positively? Whether it's verbal or nonverbal, etiquette is in the midst of all of that. So as
Yes.
long as you're awake, you're communicating something, and you must be concerned whether or not it's offending anyone else. That's the interest of demonstrating proper etiquette.
Wow. It's such an awareness, this position that you have taken on what is
Yeah.
etiquette. It brings an awareness, a consciousness that
Mhm.
you really have to be conscious of what dictates. And if you go from place to place, as you said, it's a global world, you
Right.
have to be conscious about the differences in our global community.
Mhm.
So it's really, really important that we are
Absolutely.
aware. Wow. And so, the society today is driven by technology.
Mhm.
Have you seen an impact on etiquette as you train and as you do your courses with both children and adults? How would you say the impact of technology on etiquette and etiquette awareness? What's the impact like?
Well, I can tell you, technology has magnified the lack of etiquette.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay,
it
okay.
has amplified it. It's like when you are on, say, let's take, for example, Facebook. I'm on
Yes,
Facebook all day, every day, to mainly on my business page to communicate with my followers because I love communicating with them.
yes,
But on a personal level, when I'm on my personal page or just scrolling, I see that technology has caused people to use ill grammar.
yes.
Yeah, it has caused people to shorten the things that they say improperly.
Oh,
It
yes,
has caused people to be offensive, thinking that since it's online, I don't have to be responsible for it because it's not in person. The person can't touch me, they can't come after me. You know, I can mute them if I want. I can block them if I want. So it allows you to go outside of yourself and just be a second person. That's what
Yes.
technology has done. But what I express to my students, and I always refer back to what we talk about with my students, I express to them, you cannot live two lives, one on
Yes.
social media and one in person. At some point, they will collide because that's where your character is. So I definitely understand that technology has somewhat somewhat opened the door for individuals to act out.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, because they feel like they can hide behind the computer, but you definitely cannot live two lives. Your character, your true character, will be
Yes.
revealed online as it has been revealed in person. So technology has impacted and influenced individuals. Not everyone, because there are many people who are very responsible, but some
Mhm.
feel that it's okay because it's online to just act out.
And is this impact equally with adults as well? You know, we would tend to think it's the younger persons, the young people. Do you see it with adults as well?
I sit with adults all the time. Of course,
Okay.
proper etiquette is for me not to correct them online, but I
Okay.
see it all the time. Of course, with our children, they don't understand the impact of social media or technology just yet.
Yes, wow. This is the program Afternoon Tea, and I'm here with lovely Jackie Vernon Thompson from the Inside Out School of Etiquette, and she is here, and we're talking about dining etiquette specifically. We'll get to that in a while, but we're just setting the tone and putting etiquette in context. We really want to thank Jackie for her time. And so you know how we do. Let us make her welcome. Tell her hello. Give her that warm Trini love. Let her know that she is welcome. So
Yeah.
Jackie,
Yes.
we're gonna drill down a bit more now.
All
So
right.
I said, okay, we cannot speak about all aspects of etiquette, but let's focus on one area. So we are going to focus on the dining aspect, the protocols governing dining etiquette.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving is coming up, Christmas is coming up, and I'm sure there are similarities both in the US and in the Caribbean where these two
Absolutely.
holidays, I know for some it's a nightmare when they plan their dinners and they plan their events. So we're going to drill down and get into some of that now. So I have some questions and I
Mhm.
just want to throw it at you and we'll see where they go. First question. You have been invited to a dinner party. And as mothers, as women, sometimes we are the ones responsible for arranging the sitter and getting everything in order before we leave. And for some reason, the person could not find a sitter.
Mhm.
Should that person just bring the child along to the party or should they cancel? What's the etiquette governing that scenario?
That's an awesome question. Before I answer that, I just want to, and considering the fact that we're headed into the Thanksgiving and Christmas season where
Yes,
it's normal for families to gather, I
yes,
also want to recommend to gather responsibly,
yes.
considering the pandemic. Also, before we answer that question, if you do not live with the family members, do not
Mhm.
enter their home without your mask.
Correct. That's
That
right. Yes.
that's proper etiquette all around. You want to
Yes.
be concerned about the other people in the room
Yes.
and concerned
Yes.
about yourself as well.
That's
So
right.
your children over age 2, according to
Mhm.
CDC, make sure they have a mask on and
Mhm.
you're entering someone's home with a mask. All right, now let's get to the
Wow.
nitty gritty.
Yes.
All right, so if you're invited to a dinner party and
Yes.
you have your children and you don't have a sitter, you cannot, absolutely not, ask if you can take your child with you. That's
Really?
improper etiquette. Yes, it's really
Okay.
because the host may not be prepared for a child or an additional guest. Depending on the age of the child, they may take a seat at the table.
Okay.
And the other guests may not be, the host may not be ready for that child, be
Yes.
prepared. because of course, if someone invites you over to their home, they have to prepare the meal, the courses,
Yes,
and
yes.
so forth. So that puts them in an awkward position. So they
Mhm.
may not be prepared. So don't ask them. If you cannot find a babysitter, decline the invitation.
Okay.
Simply decline the invitation, expressing that you need a babysitter, you cannot find a babysitter. So thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I have to decline. At that point, the host may say, "Oh, bring your children. They can hang out with
Oh,
mine." Okay.
okay.
So it's
Yes.
important for us to allow the host to offer. We should not ask.
Wow. That got me to thinking again in the Caribbean, weddings,
Mhm.
that's a big event. And there in the recent part, there has been an issue with invitations being given and excluding the children. And that has brought some contention. How could you invite the parents and not the children? So is that happening in the States? And how do you deal with that in the same way as you just described?
It happens in the States. A matter of
Mhm.
fact, it happened with my wedding. My husband and I decided we wanted to have an adult only wedding.
Yes.
Now, the caveat to that is to send the invitation well in advance so that the adults can make arrangements for their children.
Okay. Okay.
So, last minute invitations, which some people do, is
Mhm.
inappropriate for you to tell them to exclude a portion of their family
Yes.
last minute when you know appropriate arrangements need to be made for their children. So, if you're having an adult only wedding, please send the invitation well in advance so they can make proper arrangements. It
Okay.
happens. Some people do not want children because of how kids are running around and oh my gosh, I'm walking down the aisle and your kid just zooms out into the aisle, that kind of stuff. Some people have like horror stories. So it's
Yes.
okay. It's okay to do that, but just always keep in mind if you have a special request, your guests need time to make arrangements if they're going to accept your invitation.
Can I push this thought a bit? What
Mhm.
happens if you disregard that request on the invitation? No children at the dinner party, no children at the wedding. What should the host do if a person disregards that instruction?
Well, it's very important for the waiter and not the waiter, for the bride and groom to have a lovely time on
Yeah.
their day. So, primarily, the host, if there is a coordinator,
Yes.
would, if their child is there, we're not going to kick them out. That's improper
Okay.
etiquette to just say, oh,
Okay.
you can't enter. That's rude.
Mm.
And it's rude to show up with your child when it
Mm.
was expressed that we do not want children. Don't get an attitude, oh, they don't want my child to come. This is the occasion. The
Yes.
occasion for adults. Make arrangements for your children. Don't show up with your children. However,
Yeah.
if someone is rude enough to show up with their children and disregard the request of the
Hmm.
people who have invested in that day, and most of
Yes.
the time it's thousands of dollars, if they happen to bring their child, then of course the coordinator has to just deal with it. Don't kick them out. It's improper etiquette. Two wrongs don't make a right, and just try to work around it. That's
Yes.
all. But it's
Wow.
really rude to show up with someone who you were told that they're not invited in a nice way in the invitation.
Yeah, but as you gave the response there, I'm seeing that even the host or the organizers, they are not absolved from uh, proper etiquette. So you can't say, well, we are not allowing your child in because we said no children. You have to follow the protocols as well in order to save the day and to have the
Absolutely.
evening that you really want. I really, really love that. Uh,
Absolutely.
Culturally, the cultural differences, how do you respond to cultural differences with etiquette? Or is there a standard uh, rule book? Let's just use that term. And outside of culture, or does culture infuse itself into how you carry out yourself as it relates to etiquette?
Culture dictates just about every aspect of etiquette. Culture dictates it. So I express to even my certified etiquette consultants, those whom I've certified, that if you're going in any culture other than the one you're used to, it's important to do research to know how to conduct yourself in that culture, because one can tell exactly, especially from the U.S. It's such a huge place. If you are in, let's say, you're in Paris, where
Yes.
I've traveled to Paris a couple times, and I'm dining in American style, they can tell right off the bat I'm not I don't belong there, or
Yes.
I don't live there. So it's very important to do your research when you're going into a different culture, because their
Mm-hmm.
culture dictates the etiquette protocols.
I love that. The culture dictates the etiquette protocol. And I
Yeah.
love the example. Now, why I'm asking, you're from the US, I'm from
Well,
Trinidad, and technically,
technically, I'm from Montego Bay, Jamaica.
what is this? Oh, let me maintain my excitement. Yes!
I moved to the US at age 7, and
Okay.
I've been here ever since.
Ah, Jackie, don't do me that live. Don't do me that live. Wow,
So
wow,
that's
wow.
my Jamaican people.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, okay. Back to Giselle. But yeah, so and we would follow the UK tradition. And as you said, if someone sees you eating, they know immediately what tradition you follow. So I'm glad you say you have to research and know the dictates of that culture, and don't go and say, well, we do it differently and this is how I want to do it. You have to follow the dictates
When in
of that
Rome,
culture. Wow.
when in Rome, do as the
Do as
Romans do.
the Romans do. I like that.
Yeah.
And that will carry you throughout
Yes.
business etiquette. It crosses all our borders. It transcends whatever situation you may find
Absolutely.
yourself into. Wow. Folks, I just got a shocker there, but a good surprise. That's all good. That's why I said on afternoon tea, it's good conversation, good company, good information, and good tea.
Yeah.
So you still have some time to call a friend. Let's come and hear what Jackie has to tell us. Jackie, we,
Yes.
we touched on technology.
Mhm.
And we want to go there with some scenarios. So we're in a dinner setting as well. Do we have our gadgets on the table? So, for example, your phone, is it proper etiquette to have the phone on the table as well? I'll push it a little further, as well as answer calls and be texting at the table, at the dinner table. What are your thoughts on that?
Whew, you're touching a sensitive subject in this day and time where
Wow.
we don't even go to the restroom without
Yes.
our cell phone. You know, that's the time we're in. So of course, at the dining table, it's inappropriate to have your cell phone. It's very inappropriate to have your cell phone at the table. Matter of fact, the setting doesn't call for a cell phone. The setting calls for dishes,
Yes. Wow.
silverware, napkins. No cell phone should be at the table or on the table when you're dining, especially if you're dining with other guests. It's inappropriate. If you were to receive, it's inappropriate to text. It's inappropriate to be on your phone while
Mhm.
you're dining, because it indirectly communicates to the other guests that they're not as important.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so remember, as long as you're awake, regardless of what you're doing, you're communicating something.
I
So the
was going.
nonverbal, picking up the phone and placing it to your head, or picking up the phone and just texting randomly, that simply means they're not as important. Now, there are emergency situations when you would receive a text that you just have to respond to. You
Mhm.
immediately turn to your guest. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I must quickly respond to this text. Because we do have certain emergency situations. You
Yes.
respond to the text, you put the phone away, and you proceed with engaging your guest. Now, if you receive a phone call that you must take, again, excuse yourself. I am
Mhm.
so sorry, I must take this call. Excuse me, step away. Do not remain at the table on your phone
Mhm.
speaking to someone who is not a guest at the table. That's
Mhm.
rude. We don't, first, we
Okay.
don't want to hear your conversations. Secondly, your conversation may take over from the conversations at the table.
At the table,
So
yeah.
excuse yourself, go to the restroom, have your conversation, or go outside. Take care of what you need to take care of. Return and put that cell phone away and continue conversing with the other guests. You have to be
Is
very careful at that point.
is there a limit to how many calls you should take? So if there's a repeated, occurrence of a call coming through and you have to keep excusing yourself, should it be that, okay, you say, I will take it off now and continue to enjoy the evening? Or is it perfectly okay as long as you get the call, excuse yourself and come back?
I think it's very rude to continually have a reason to leave the table.
Okay.
Especially regarding the phone. I
Right.
think it's very rude. So you need to take care of what you have to on
Mhm.
the first call. Let them know I will contact you once I'm finished dining.
Okay.
Make
Yeah.
arrangements, and then
Wow.
you return to the table and enjoy the company of the guests and have a dining experience.
Yes. Wow. 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 Have a dining experience. I'm throwing my mind back to a young professional. You have to go to these gatherings and you're a little shy in terms of communicating to the dinner guest on your left and your right. And sometimes you just sit there. How would you advise a young professional woman listening to you this afternoon to enjoy the dining experience? What are some tips? How to break the ice in terms of having a conversation? What do you do? Do you just start to speak to the person? How do you break the ice to enjoy that dining experience, as you say?
Yes, and I'm so glad that you followed through with the terms, with the terminology, dining experience, because so many of us just sit at the table and eat.
Yes.
We're just concerned about the food. We're concerned about consuming it. We're concerned about just getting it down and be out of there. That's eating. However,
Mm,
dining, having a dining experience is when you enjoy conversations, you
okay.
enjoy the taste of the food, you enjoy the ambiance, you enjoy the interaction with the waiter and waitress if you're in a restaurant. You have an experience and you enjoy course by course. So there's a big difference between eating, where you say, let's go to the restaurant and eat. You're just going
Mm-hmm.
to the restaurant to just consume that food and be out of there. But if you're going to dine, you're there to have an experience and you're more patient. So, in order to make things a little more comfortable for either your colleagues or just other guests at the table, you can simply find reasons to chuckle, find reasons to laugh about something, not an outburst, but
Yeah.
to chuckle about something. And even if you reach for a dish that is
Mm-hmm.
close to you, because if the dish is at a distance, you have
Yes.
to request it. If you both reach for something at the table at the same time, oh, no, go ahead, no problem. Find ways to start a conversation and just laugh. Make the experience light. And of
Yes.
course, make sure you bring up conversations that will not offend anyone or cause them to feel awkward. So they always say don't talk politics or religion
Yeah.
unless everyone is on the same level with that.
Yes. Wow. I love that. The dining experience is about the conversation, about the food and the environment as well. It's not just
Engagement.
about eat and engagement. It's
Mhm.
not just eating and wolfing down food. Oh, wow, wow, wow. I love that. The
Yes.
term fine dining, what
Mm.
is that? I've always heard the term. I haven't experienced fine dining as yet. So, as I have you here,
No.
let me bring it up. Not as yet.
Well, fine dining is primarily done at a five-star restaurant or
Yes.
higher, where proper etiquette at its utmost is expected by the guests, and proper service, of course, is expected by the servers. So it's the type of environment where you don't shout. You
Mm.
don't, there are no outbursts. There's proper, when you're eating a course, you're demonstrating proper etiquette. You're chewing properly with your mouth closed.
Yes, yes.
And you conduct yourself, you're concerned about the other guests, not necessarily only the other guests at your table, but the other guests in the restaurant.
Yes.
So you're careful where you walk. You're careful when you walk to the restroom that you're not, loud or anything. You're just more conscious of your behavior because it is expected in such
Mhm.
environment.
So, how do you prepare for the fine dining experience? Could you give some tips on what you could do to, okay, this should happen. I should expect this, 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 and so you're already aware. So it's not that you're going there very awkward. What would you tell?
Well, first of all, to prepare yourself, the number one thing is to understand and believe that you're good enough for this type of experience. It's a mindset. You are good enough for this. So therefore, step in there owning it because you're good enough for it. All right.
Yes,
So secondly, you should call me for an etiquette class.
that's right.
Yes. But if you're not able to do that, just try to find some way to learn proper etiquette. Learn how to eat with a knife and fork, how to set your fingers, how to feed yourself. If you're in a European country, if you're in London or wherever, learn how to dine in European style.
Okay.
In America, learn how to dine in American style. Understand their culture. Again, culture plays such a huge role. So again, do your research. If you're going into, just like if you're going into a Japanese restaurant, do
Yes.
some research on how to conduct yourself, how to dine in Japanese style.
Mhm.
It's that simple. Once you gain knowledge, your confidence boosts.
Mhm.
That's the bottom line. So
Yes.
whatever environment you're going into, do a little research. Go
Mhm.
on YouTube, Google. There's so much resources out there to be able to teach you and show you, demonstrate to you how you should do things.
Wow, wow. I really like that. And especially as you introduced that first line, you said, you have to believe that you deserve this experience and you
Mhm.
belong here. And as you said, many young women growing up in our churches, in our communities, they have not had that training. They didn't come from that type of environment. And so
Mhm.
I think it's our responsibility as we groom them and as we train them to let them know you belong here and you belong in this environment. So go forth, conquer,
Yes,
own
you
it. Yes,
you deserve the finer things in life, and it's
that's right.
important also, Giselle, for
Hmm.
us to remind our young boys that as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah,
Yes, yes, that's right. That is so true. So we have, as we train the girls, they are also a focus as well. And so we're develop holistic development all around. So
absolutely.
that's so true. But Jackie, I'm again
Hmm.
remembering my experience, nervous eating with the knife and fork, trying to go through all the things that I read. So, yes, you're doing well and you're talking to yourself. But at the back of your mind, you're always scared that the piece of chicken might just find its way flying across the room. What will you do? So let's talk about accidents that might occur at the dinner table a bit. And so, as I said, the piece of chicken, it hasn't happened, and I pray that it will never happen. You drop your fork,
Mm.
you spill the water. What do you do in a situation like that at the dining table?
Well, of course, I've never experienced, nor have I witnessed someone's chicken flying across the room. So that primarily won't happen.
That's right.
It won't happen. I just don't see how that can happen
Oh,
unless the
that's
kids
right.
are throwing the food. Okay. So let's talk about practicalities. These are
Yes.
practical things that happen where you drop your napkin, you drop your fork,
Mhm.
your knife, etc. Do not pick it up.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Do not pick it up. Why should I not pick up my knife or fork from the from the floor? Because you don't want to transfer the germs from the floor to the table. That's
Okay.
very offensive for one with your for your other guests.
Mm-hmm.
So did she really just pick up that fork and put it back on the table? Oh my gosh. So that's offensive. So you don't want to transfer the germs from the floor to the table. Secondly, all you have to do is signal your waiter or waitress or
Okay.
the host. I'm sorry, I dropped my napkin or I dropped my fork. May I have another one, please?
Okay.
Absolutely. Sure, they will pick up the napkin or the utensil that's on the floor and
Mm-hmm.
they will replace it with a new and clean utensil or napkin. Never pick it up. That's inappropriate. Okay, if you spill something on the table, ooh, one thing that's really important when you're dining, especially in the midst of other guests, is
Mm-hmm.
to not make a scene.
Okay.
You don't want to draw attention to yourself, especially in a negative way. So if you were to spill something on your table, which happens because we're human, we make mistakes. If you're not able to quickly clean it with your napkin,
Mm-hmm.
you will signal or inform a waiter or waitress that something has spilled and allow them to clean it up while you sit still out of their way, sit back out of their way, and allow them to maneuver and clean that up. Not
Okay.
making a scene, but doing their job. A scene is if you spill something and you try to get everybody's napkin. Let me get your napkin. Let me get your napkin. That's
Yes.
crazy. Okay, that's
Yes.
a scene. And it has happened over and over. And before I knew all about etiquette, I did it. So
Yes.
don't
Yes.
feel bad if you're that in that situation. Now we know better, right? You know better, you do
Right.
better, right?
Yes.
So don't try to make a scene and don't try to get everybody's napkin. Just alert the individuals who are there to assist you, and they will clean it up, and you proceed engaging in your conversation.
Wow, wow, wow. I am sure you are learning so much on this episode of Afternoon Tea. Jackie is just teaching us. So we still have some time. So call another friend and please share this live. Let others
Mhm.
get in on the information that we are sharing this afternoon. Jackie, another nightmare I had is that after dinner is over, I would have the biggest piece of something
Woo!
stuck in my teeth.
Hmm.
What do you do if that actually happens to you? And I guess
It has
someone
happened to
notices. Oh, okay.
It has happened. It happens to me all the time
Mhm.
because I'm a stickler on things being stuck between my teeth. I can't function if anything is stuck in my teeth. That's why I have my floss everywhere, my purse, my
Yes.
bathroom, my bedroom. I just have floss everywhere. However, if something is stuck in your teeth and you can't get it out by the basic way where you're just moving your tongue a little,
Mhm.
to get it out, which will be brief. Don't make a scene with that. If you're not able to do that, simply excuse yourself. Do
Okay.
not use a toothpick or floss, worse, floss at the table.
Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, that is so improper. That
Okay.
is rude. So, no toothpick at the table, no floss at the table. Excuse yourself, go to the restroom. You may
Mhm.
floss there or use your toothpick there.
Okay.
Take care of your business and come back and engage in conversation or have your last course, which could be tea, coffee, whatever. But do not make an attempt to remove it with any
Mhm.
external source, which is your
Mhm.
hand.
Yes.
And don't sit at the table doing this. You know, when you're sifting through it, through your
Yeah. Yes.
that is
Ah.
rude. And of course, whatever is in your between your teeth can spew onto someone else's plate or onto someone else.
Mm.
So always remember etiquette, conducting yourself in a way that doesn't offend anyone
Offend
else.
anyone else. Okay.
Yes. So
Wow.
there's no problem. Excuse me, I'll be right back. You don't even have to explain why
Mhm.
you're leaving the table. As an adult, you just excuse yourself and go take care of your business and return with making no scenes.
Wow, I love your definition. Etiquette is about not causing offense to the
Mhm.
other. And so, with that consciousness, I could understand. It's quite because I guess you think you don't want to be moving back and forth, but you have to. You don't want to sit there and be doing what you're saying and causing offense to
Mhm.
another person.
Right.
I'm also thinking about things like contact lenses, or ladies where we're applying another coat of the powder. Where should you be doing these things at the table?
Nope, none of that at the table. If you're not dining and conversing with the other guests or just enjoying their company, you do not do any of that. If your contact needs to be taken out or fixed, excuse yourself.
Excuse yourself.
Ladies, do not replenish your lipstick at the table. That's rude. One more thing, ladies, do not place your purse on the table. I don't care how small your purse is, it could be a little pouch that can fit on the table. That's rude. Your pouch or your purse should be on your lap, under your napkin, or hanging on the back of the chair. If you're in an environment where you're not concerned, someone will just walk by and take it. Okay? So nothing should be on the table, not even your arm. Of
Jackie.
course, we know the elbow, it doesn't belong on the table. The only time elbows are permitted on the table is when everyone is finished eating, all of the
Yes.
plates and everything have been removed, and you're just conversing with the other guests. You can, yeah, girl, you can have a nice time. But if somebody's eating, even just one person, the elbows are not on the table. So nothing goes on the table except for what is used to
For the
dine.
name.
That's it.
Jackie,
Mhm.
go back to that purse. I have seen
Yes.
you get to the table and you put your purse to the
Mhm.
middle of the table. So you see a line of purses.
We see
Or
that all the time.
remember a few years ago, they invented a hook of
Yes.
sorts that you put on the table to hang the purse. I
Mhm,
have
mhm,
seen that as well. I
mhm,
even had one.
mhm.
Isn't that acceptable?
Absolutely, that's appropriate. You
Okay.
go to Amazon. I'm not getting any commission or anything from Amazon, but that's the easiest place to go.
Yes.
Go to Amazon and buy a purse clip and allow it
Right.
to hang off if it has handles. You know, a lot of our
Okay.
purses don't have handles, but just because there's room in the center of the table,
Oh,
ladies, that doesn't mean that room is for your purse. That's rude.
wow.
One, your purse is in your hand. Your purse sits at different places. Your purse may even sit on the floor at home. And you come and just prop that purse on the table where whatever is going on enters my mouth, my system.
Yes.
That's absolutely rude. That's not considering the other guests. That's rude. And for me, who knows that protocol, that's
Mhm.
offensive to me.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
so anything of your personal belonging doesn't is not placed on the table.
Wow. Well, I would admit I have done that, so I know I have to stop doing that moving forward. Thank you, Jackie.
My
Wow, wow,
pleasure.
wow. If you have just joined us for some reason, this is the program Afternoon Tea, where we have good company, good conversation, and good information. My guest today is Jackie Vernon Thompson, CEO of From the Inside Out School of Etiquette, and we are talking all things etiquette this afternoon, specifically dining etiquette and protocol. So, Jackie, everyone these days, they are conscious about what they eat and their diets and all of that. So if there's a scenario where something is served but you don't eat that particular meat or whatever it is, how do you respond correctly to that situation?
Huh. That's interesting because many people are in that situation at different times. You would simply express to the host, this looks awesome, but I'm so sorry. This may bother my stomach. I'm so sorry, but I look forward to the next course because I see that dessert is so delicious. You try to, for example, I do not eat pork. I do not
Mhm.
eat red meat. So if someone were to serve it to me, especially if it's a private dining party at someone's home, I'm going to find every way to make them feel so good about the work they've done, the cooking. That looks so delicious. However, I'm unable to have that right now, but I definitely look forward to the other courses because it looks so delicious. Oh my gosh, I can't
Wow.
believe, and this is a way to veer from the subject. I can't believe you made all of this stuff. It's so awesome. Try to
Okay.
change the subject somewhat.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's some things we just cannot indulge,
Mhm.
and that's okay. But the main thing is to make sure you don't offend while you're quote unquote rejecting what's been offered to you. Okay?
Okay.
So
Wow.
just be very courteous. Just express to them, I'm sorry, I'm not able to have that right now, but I definitely look forward to the dessert and whatever else you have for us, because I can't believe you put yourself through so much trouble. And if you're not allergic to the item, or it's something that's not going to make you sick, or something that's not going to break your diet completely, because I haven't had red meat in like 20 years, 20 plus
Mhm.
years. So
Mhm.
it wouldn't be wise for me to have it right now. And I
Mhm.
never ate pork. So even if it's something that you can have a small portion of,
Mhm.
take a small portion
Okay.
as not to offend them. Just take a small portion along with the other foods on your plate and
Mhm.
taste it a bit, just to show that, hey, I don't have a problem with this. Just
Mhm.
taste it a bit. Eat the other stuff. You don't have to finish it.
Okay.
But if
Okay.
you can indulge a little, just taste it. Just take a small portion,
Mhm.
enjoy a part of that small portion, and you may end up loving it and eat the
Okay.
whole thing, because sometimes we have a tendency of saying no to something we've never tried.
We've never tried. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But if you are able to indulge somewhat, take a small portion, showing
Mhm.
that grace, and proceed. And if you're not able to eat it all, then you
Right.
just leave it on the table, on the plate.
I'm pushing the cultural angle just a bit on this particular issue. In the Caribbean, a clean plate is the sign that you enjoyed that meal. So you're even suggesting if you could just take a bit of it and then move on with the other items on your plate, that's acceptable. But in the Caribbean, supposing, that's still being taken as you did not like the item and the person asks you, you didn't like that? How do you respond?
Well, first of
Me.
all, my mom used to always tell me, don't take what you can't eat.
Yes. Okay.
Okay? So you take the portions that you know you can eat. The
Okay.
portion that you know you'll be able to stomach, even if you don't favor it, still
Mm-hmm.
only take, because you're considering the culture, only take what you can eat.
Okay.
Because
Uh,
in America, we're more relaxed with
yes.
that. We're more
Yes.
relaxed. So we'll take a big old portion, knowing
Mm-hmm.
we're probably not going to eat it, but it's okay. We could throw it away, which is not a good mentality to have, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the culture of America. However, in other cultures, yes, if you do not clean your plate, then
Mm-hmm.
that's not okay. Now, now this is the funny thing. If you're in a restaurant, especially a five-star restaurant, fine dining, you don't want to completely clean your plate.
Okay.
Yeah, that just
Okay.
that doesn't look good. It doesn't look refined. Okay, so you would always leave a little something in your plate. I'm not saying leave your whole course or leave this
Yes.
huge piece of steak or huge piece of chicken breast, but leave a little something. Make it look like, I wasn't starving. I'm refined. I know how to conduct myself at the table. I know how to dine. And if you're really hungry, later on when you go home, eat. you
That's
know,
right.
but
That's
yeah,
right.
In the American culture,
Okay.
especially in fine dining, you do not clean your plate.
Okay, that's key to know. So it's just you have to understand your environment, and
Yeah,
then according to the dictates, you follow to suit. I really
absolutely.
love that. Folks, we are almost out of time, but not yet. I have a few more scenarios I want Jackie to advise us on. Isn't this good? This is just good this afternoon. I'm really enjoying our conversation.
Likewise.
Jackie, again, in the Caribbean, and I guess around the world as well, but sometimes you arrive late.
Mm.
You have an invitation that says 7 p.m., 6 p.m., and you arrive 8 p.m. What do you do in a situation like that for
Oh,
dinner that started 6 p.m.?
okay, so there are a variety of aspects here. First of all, if you're going to arrive late, if
Mhm.
you notice that you will arrive late, excuse me, and it could be due to your work schedule or the babysitter was late, or it doesn't matter. But if you know you're going to be late, you must inform the host well in advance so that
Okay.
they will know you're going to be late and it's expected and there's no uproar or upset. That's our responsibility as a guest.
Hmm.
If there is no reason for you to be late, you need to show up on time.
Yes.
Now, if dinner is at 6, show up 10 minutes to 6. The reason I say 10 minutes to 6 and not quarter to 6 or 5:30, they may not be ready for you at 5:30. You're imposing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You're imposing. They said 6 o'clock. Come a little earlier than 6 just to get yourself situated. But don't show up at 5:30. They're still cooking. They're still setting up. They don't want you there at 5:30. If you show up at 5:30, they'll be nice. Oh, I'm still getting stuff together. But that's rude. As a guest,
Yes.
show
Yes.
up just a little before the time you're supposed to be there, not
Mhm.
at 30 minutes to an hour. That's just too much. You're imposing. So if you show up late without informing the host, it's every man for himself. Do
Mm.
not expect the host to share a plate and put it aside for you. Don't
Mhm.
get upset if they don't do it. Now, the host can be courteous and be sweet and share your plate while they're wondering if you're going to show up, but they don't have to because
Okay.
it's improper etiquette to show up late anywhere. My
Mm.
friends know me. Oh my gosh, if it's 5 o'clock, Jackie's gonna be there on time.
Right. Yes.
Because that's etiquette 101. Be on time. And if you're not going to be on time, don't call me the time you're supposed to arrive and say you're going to be late. Call me at least like 30
Advance.
minutes in advance to let me
Yes.
know, to
Yes.
help me to shift my mindset, because I'm
Mhm.
preparing for you. So if you show up late, don't expect anything to be prepared for you. When you show up late, apologize. Apologize to the host and apologize to the other guests
Mhm.
because it's already rude that you're late. Acknowledge that you have demonstrated improper etiquette.
Mhm.
Acknowledge that you were late. Apologize. Don't make a scene about it. You don't need to explain, I had to do this. That's too much information. Just,
Yeah.
I need you to acknowledge that you have offended me by being late. That's all. Then we could carry on with the rest of the day.
Wow. This is serious stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, Jackie, we have a question. I want to take it now. Let's see. Omed is asking, if invited to dinner, is it okay to ask what is being served given one's allergies?
Mm. Well, you don't want to make a scene about it. You don't want to ask publicly.
Mhm.
You can pull the host to the side and just let her know, him or her, because we have
Mhm.
some guys who love to do party events.
Yes.
you just pull them aside and just let them know, I just wanted to let you know that I'm allergic to certain ingredients. So I just wanted to find out if that's in there because it looks so delicious. Oh my gosh. Again, in everything you do, find a way to give compliments to ease the blow. Okay. So just let them know discreetly that you're allergic to certain things so that at that point, the host discreetly can find alternatives or just inform you, well, you might not want to eat that because it has it in it, and so forth. That's how you do it. But you don't just go, girl, you know, I don't eat this.
No, no, wow.
No, we don't do that. But be discreet. Be discreet, discreet, discreet. Don't make a scene and try by all means, not to offend.
Wow. Jackie, yes, Omar is saying thank you.
My
Yes.
pleasure.
Jackie, last scenario I want to paint for you. And I know this particular is a big animal, but just give us a few pointers. And this concerns seating arrangement and the overall setting of the table. So you arrive into the space, you are directed into this space. What do you do? How should you be conscious about seating arrangements and what to do if you're first time at this type of dinner setting and you're really nervous? You don't want to make mistakes. So what tips could you give us in terms of quick cues? Okay, look for this to situate yourself as it relates to seating arrangement and the overall setting of the table. Just some tips.
First of all, that's a good question. The host should be aware of the relationships of their guests.
Okay.
Okay. So if the host, because we do have dinner parties and events where the host seats the individual or put a name card where you would sit.
Yes.
As a host, you must be aware of the culture between the two individuals you're seating next to each other. If the two are not on the same page with any subject, or if they don't get along, do not seat them together trying to force them to make up. That's not the time or the place.
Yes.
Because scenes can happen, disruption can happen. You don't want to do that. So that's the responsibility of the host. So she or he would seat spouses together. Hopefully they don't have any issues going on. Yes. Spouses together, families together, or you can have a table for children and table for adults, but be aware of who you're placing next to each other. That it's a given. As a guest, you would come in, and I've seen this, and I'm guilty of doing this back in the day. I come to a table and my name is here and somebody else's name is next to me, and you really don't want to sit by that person.
You switch it.
That's improper etiquette. I must say I'm guilty of that. I have been guilty of that in the past, of course. But knowing that that's improper etiquette, and my friend is sitting over there, especially at a reception, a wedding reception, it happens all the time. My friend is sitting at another table and I'm sitting over here with people I don't even know.
Yes.
It's like you're tempted to move, you're tempted to switch name cards. Proper etiquette is to just endure. Just sit there.
Really? Yeah. So you don't even ask, do you mind switching places with, no, you can't. That's not proper etiquette.
No, you don't. You find a way to have conversations with the individuals at the table. You never know what you will discover. You'll get to know some new people. Just make it work for that hour and a half. And then, of course, there are other times of the event where you socialize and you mingle. Then you can mingle with your friends. Yes. But if somebody places you at a table and you don't know anyone, you get to know them and you just make the best of it and you just indulge in conversations. But the host should have known that you're placing them in an area where they're like a fish out of water. Okay. The host holds a lot of responsibility for that. So if you're inviting someone somewhere, to a wedding reception, to a dinner party, make sure at least the individual who is sitting at the table has someone else who they're acquainted with
Mhm.
to naturally, organically converse and not have to try to fit in. That's awkward. So the host never wants their guests to feel awkward.
Wow, I love that. Thank you, Jackie. Final thoughts.
Mhm.
How can you advise us? What can we do? How can we start being more etiquette conscious in today's world? What would you tell us?
Research. Either book a workshop with me
Mhm. And we'll talk about
or
some.
research.
Mhm.
I I tell you, Google and YouTube,
Best friends.
the strongest resources out there. Every
Mhm.
question can be answered, whether it's spiritual or it's just a standard question about what to do with your kids.
Mhm.
Do some research to know how to conduct yourself in certain environments. You don't
Yeah.
just thrust yourself into an environment where your conduct matters
Hmm.
and you have no idea. You don't just show up cold turkey and just, for a networking event or for a certain meeting with dignitaries. You don't just show up.
Hmm.
You try to find out how to conduct yourself so you will be available and show yourself available for the
Yes.
opportunities out there. So if
Ooh.
you just show up cold turkey, you're basically saying, I don't care. Whatever opportunity is out there for me, I either do it or don't. I either get it or don't. That's a careless, irresponsible way to approach a situation. So do your research.
You need to show yourself available for the opportunity that is out there. So, etiquette is
Mhm.
a key that will open opportunities for you, and you have to be ready.
Absolutely.
Woo!
Absolutely.
Jackie. I felt that one. I felt that one. So you see, it's not in isolation. Etiquette is not in a vacuum. Oh, that's old time. No, 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 no.
Absolutely
Etiquette
not.
serves and acts as a key to opportunity, and you need to be ready and available.
Hmm.
Jackie, thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
how you say my
Thank you.
name, Jackie.
It's the Trinity in me.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So tell us, I can't let you go without telling us, how can we reach you if we want
Ooh.
to have a session, if we're interested in becoming trained and certified as etiquette consultants? Tell us, how can we reach you?
It's so easy to reach me. I'm on all the social media handles. Facebook, From the Inside Out School of Etiquette. Instagram, From the Inside Out SOE. SOE is the acronym for School of Etiquette. YouTube, From the Inside Out School of Etiquette. LinkedIn, From the Inside Out School of Etiquette. You can reach me, you can find me anywhere you like. My website is www.fromtheinsideoutsoe.com. Remember, SOE, the acronym for School of Etiquette. You can email us at
Mhm.
info at fromtheinsideoutsoe.com. We have so much coming up. We have a Build Your Business class that will start on October 6th. This class is major. If you have a business or have an idea of a business that you wanted to get it off the ground, you wanted to establish it, but you have no idea how to establish it, you have no idea how to market your business, maintain it, network it, and all of that stuff,
Mhm.
we have a Build Your Business class that starts October 6th. It
Yes.
will be via Zoom, live with me for
Mhm.
5 weeks, one day, one evening a week for
Mhm.
5 weeks, teaching you how to maintain your business and how to establish your business. That starts October 6th. And you can go on my website, fromtheinsideoutsoe.com, and click on the tab Build Your Business, and you can register there.
Okay.
That's an amazing thing. All of the things that I went through, all of the obstacles and the trials that I experienced establishing my business even to this point, I
Okay.
will direct you around it. So you're
Yes.
able to avoid all of that and just focus on building your strong business. That's
Wow.
important. Okay.
Yes.
All of the components to make a successful business. Now, October 15th, my
Mhm.
new certification class starts where people will register to become certified. That's another 5-week course, but it's 2 evenings per week because there's so much to cover to help individuals aspiring to be certified etiquette consultants.
Mhm.
Uh, so much to share with them, to teach them the whole concept on table etiquette, the concept of sitting and walking gracefully, chivalry, greeting and communicating, and so much more. I teach them step by step
Wow.
how to create powerful, impactful, engaging, and fun PowerPoint presentations.
Yes.
Because that's right now in this virtual world, that's how you're going to teach with the PowerPoint. And even in person, we
Mhm.
talk about how to conduct classes on Zoom. I teach them everything they need to know
Yes.
about etiquette so that they can launch their own school wherever they are, anywhere in the world.
Yes.
So that again, you will find on my website from the inside out, soe.com, and just click on become certified and register for the 5-week course.
Okay. Wow. 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 So, folks, you heard it. Whew, all I could do is, whew. This has been an awesome session, Jackie. Thank you again. We
My
have had a
pleasure.
TIME Omed. She is saying excellent session.
Thank you.
Les Child is saying great information. Thanks, Sister Jackie. Ah,
You're
yeah.
welcome.
Karen is saying, excellent session. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
My
Oh,
pleasure.
wow. Jillian is saying, informative program.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. Krishandra, she's from Barbados. She's saying, thank you, ladies, and blessings.
Blessings to you
We
too.
have had an awesome evening.
Hmm.
So, this is, and it has been the program Afternoon Tea, where we have good company. You see, Sister Jackie? Good conversation, good information, and of course, a good cup of tea. Until
Yes.
next Sunday, bye, everyone.
Bye,
Take
everyone.